Why hello there, fans of game and sport. What if I told you there was a game that combines sports games and motion-based games? That's right, it's Wii Sports.
You see, with the failure of the GameCube, it became clear that it wasn't all about exclusive games anymore, but instead extra features or cool gimmicks that actually get utilized in games. Well, with Nintendo making their next console, they decided to make it all about motion controls, which is how we got the Wii. Now, with every new console, it's always a good idea to make a game that's really there to just show off what this new hardware can do. And that was basically Wii Sports. It came bundled with the Wii and was made to show off what you can do with motion controls with the Wii remotes, and also ended up being a fun game to just pop in and play, which in and itself ended up making it a pretty popular game at the time that made people want to get a Wii. Now, Wii Sports has 5 different sports in it: tennis, baseball, bowling, golf, and boxing. Now, tennis, it's pretty simple. Swing your Wii remote in the general direction you want the ball to go, and it will go in that direction when you hit it. Now, tennis is a fun sport, having very simple yet intuitive controls that aren't very precise, just enough to make you have a fun time. Now, the rest of the sports follow the same gist of swing your Wii remote to mimic these real-life motions, and it makes the game very easy to learn. Now, the difficulty in this game varies. It starts out easy but gets harder the more you win, and when you lose it gets easier to pretty much follow your skill level. Now, in terms of extra modes, you've got challenges, which is basically practicing different skills used in each sport. Now, that is Wii Sports, a game made to show off what the Wii can do that ended up being a hit and a system seller for the Wii.
Now, later in the Wii's life cycle, they decided to make a new Wii Sports game with more precise controls, new sports, and more extra modes.
Now, in order to give this new Wii Sports game more precise controls, they had to release an accessory with it called the Wii Motion Plus accessory that you just attach to the end of your Wii remote, and bam, now you have a gyro sensor, which has far better accuracy than the IR sensor that the Wii was using. Now, Wii Sports Resort, the sequel to Wii Sports, had 12 sports, all with at least one extra mode, and very specific and precise controls, just as it was supposed to. Now, this wasn't quite the success that Wii Sports was, since it wasn't a pack-in game. Instead, a game that you can buy separately at, say, GameStop. But because of it being the sequel to the game that made everyone want the Wii, it did end up selling quite well and is still to this day one of the best-selling games of all time. Now, here we are with the Wii U a few years later.
Jesus Christ!
The Wii U. What a loser! I mean, you'd have to be the biggest loser of all time to own one of these pieces of junk.
I never said I wasn't a loser.
The Wii U was an interesting console, to say the least. The controller had a screen on it. Let's be honest, Nintendo was running out of ideas at this point. But hey, if you don't want to use a giant controller with terrible battery life, you can still use your old Wii remote. Now, with the Wii U being compatible with the Wii remote, it makes sense that Nintendo can make a brand new Wii Sports game to finally get people interested in their dying console. But instead they made this. Wii Sports Club is like Wii Sports from the Wii, remastered, and now you can play online with other people. So there's like a 1% chance you'll actually be able to play online. I mean, this is the Wii U. Who owns the Wii U? Now, unfortunately, I don't own Wii Sports Club because even I'm not that stupid.
I have it saved for later on Amazon.
Yeah, this game didn't do well. It was unoriginal, didn't add anything new, and barely anybody knew it actually existed. Maybe the Switch will have a story to tell. The Nintendo Switch. Wow, what a redemption story for Nintendo. The Nintendo Switch is currently Nintendo's best-selling home console, and still selling in big numbers, and has controllers that have a gyro sensor in them, meaning you can use them for motion-controlled games, just like the Wii remotes. Meaning we can finally see Wii Sports resurrected. What the hell are these things? Now we've made it to Nintendo Switch Sports. Nintendo Switch Sports brings in some sports from the old games, adds a couple new sports, and a whole lot of other extra features, some being bad, some being good. First, let's go to the sports. The sports themselves are fantastic. They are fun, precise, and easy to learn. Mostly. Now, there are actually less sports than Wii Sports Resort, with there only being 6, with 3 old and 3 new. But all the sports work amazingly. The old sports feel legitimately upgraded from the original versions, with more precise controls, and the new sports are great. Badminton is very similar to tennis, but very fun, even though it's very unoriginal. Volleyball is great all around, has a few similarities to some of the other sports, but feels and plays very different, and has a range of different motions you can perform. And lastly, soccer. Soccer is probably the best new sport. Granted, it looks very weird, kind of like Rocket League, but that isn't a bad thing, and this is quite honestly the best sport, and it is really fun. You can move around all around the field, kick the ball in any direction, hopefully to the goal, and you can literally dive at the ball. All in all, I'd say soccer is by far the best new sport. Now what about the other features? Well, it wants you to primarily play online because that's how you get new items like clothing, sports gear, emotes, and titles. Now in online, there's a pro league that you can get into after winning a few times in a particular sport, and it reminds me a lot of the ranks in the Splatoon games. You win a lot, you rank up. You lose a lot, you lose your rank. Now one interesting thing about this is if you're about to lose your rank and you don't want to lose your rank, you can turn off Pro League play in settings, which kind of defeats the whole purpose. Now items you can use to customize your sportsmate. Where are the Miis? You can play as your Mii, but that means some of the customization options you can't do on your character when it's a Mii. Now the different items, clothing, it's clothing for your sportsmate. Sports gear, it's sports gear. But what are titles? It's kind of like it sounds. You combine two words to make a title. You can make it cool or wacky, whatever you want. Pretty cool, I guess. Now emotes you can use in online play to show how you're feeling. Now how am I feeling when I'm playing Switch Sports?
Like you suck and I just beat you without even trying. Huh. I like this game.
Now finally, extra modes. You got special lanes in bowling, shootout and 1v1 in soccer, and that's it. That is underwhelming. Now after looking at all the things in Switch Sports, I'll say this is a pretty good game with some flaws, like why did it release in April when it could have released in the fall with golf already included? Why is the game always judging me about my timing in volleyball? And why does badminton not always work? It's unfair. It's annoying. Why does it have to be this way?
You know what? This game may not be the best, but at least it's not Wii Sports Club on the Wii U.